Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is part 7th video on circulation, and we are at the uh, end concept of the on the topic circulation, that is disorders of circulatory system. Okay, let's begin with the first disorder of circulatory system, that is myocardial infarction. So, what is this myocardial infarction? Infarction, MI in short, it is also called as heart attack in simple words, in a common language. Let's begin with the first point. Okay. So, what is this myocardial infarction? See here, infarction. The infarction meaning here, infarction means death of the tissues. So we know that our body is made up of cells and group of cells from the tissues. Okay, the whole body, it is composed of tissue. And here even the heart, myo means heart. Okay, cardial means heart. Myo means muscle. Cardial means heart. Here there is a death of the cardial tissue. Okay, the muscle tissue. So that is the meaning of this myocardial infarction. So why it's going to happen? Why the death of the tissue is going to happen? This is because if you think this is the blood vessel, okay, so and the blood is flowing inside the blood vessel. So we know this, right? So if there is no supply of, so if there is no supply of blood to the tissue, then that leads to a death of the tissue. So if there is a death of the tissue, then there is no function at all, so then the function of the heart is get ceased. That is the reason here. Let's learn 5 points here. It is the death of the cardiac muscle in a localized area, means in a particular area. Why this is? This is due to insufficient supply of oxygenated blood. We know that the two types of blood, that is oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood, pure blood and impure blood, right? So if there is there is no supply or a less supply of the pure blood to the tissues, then that tissue is going to die. Okay, that is actually called as heart attack, or it is called as myocardial infarction. Okay, and why it is going to happen? We have some causes, some reasons here. Let us look at those. The first one, very important one. Listen carefully and concentrate, because the words are very scientific, and in the examination they will ask. Okay, let's begin with the first one, that is arteriosclerosis. What is this arteriosclerosis? Here, the arterio means I guess by looking at the name itself, we can get to know this is the spelling of arteries. Okay, so there is something happening in the arteries. So let us look at that. What is happening here? The thickening means the thickening. Okay, thickening of the artery. The thickening of the arteries due to the deposition of cholesterol, and calcium salts on the inner wall of the arteries. Okay, that is called as arteriosclerosis. So, for example, if you think this is the blood vessel, okay, and on the inner wall of this blood vessel, so there is a deposition of cholesterol. It may be a cholesterol or calcium salt, like a calcium carbonate. So if there is a deposition of all these things, then this is going to lessen the space for the blood supply, the blood flow in the arteries. So this will lead to a arteriosclerosis, and it leads to a loss of elasticity of the arteries. Okay, that is the first reason. That's why here the arteries, means means nothing but the tissue is going to get damaged. So that the reason for the heart attack. The next one, the second cause, that is atherosclerosis. What is this atherosclerosis? It is a condition in which lumen of the blood vessel is reduced due to the deposition of cholesterol. Here what happens, if you think this is the blood vessel and this is the lumen, the center part, it is called as the lumen. So the lumen is going to get reduced because due to the deposition of the cholesterol. So as the lumen get reduced, then it obstruct, or it going to stop the flow of blood to the heart muscles. That's why it will lead to this is called as atherosclerosis. So it reduces the deposition of the cholesterol. It reduces the lumen. So this is due to the deposition of cholesterol. It obstructs the flow of blood to the heart muscles, and it leads to death of cardiac muscles. It is called as coronary artery disease. Okay. So the third reason, that is third reason here is that is thrombus formation. What is thrombus formation? Thrombus. I guess you have you remember this word. I guess you have remembered this word if you watched my video, the sixth video, where I have talked about the mechanism of blood clotting. That is, blood clotting is called as thrombus. Okay. So how the thrombus is going to form, that I have explained in the previous video. If you didn't watch that video, please watch that video, so that could help you to understand the mechanism of blood clotting if you are interested. Thank you. Let us continue with the third reason for the myocardial infarction here, thrombus formation, that is blood clotting. What happens? The clotting of blood in unbroken blood vessels is called as thrombosis. What is thrombosis? The simple question, very important one here. So, if there is unbroken blood vessels, so in that blood vessels, if there is any kind of clotting, okay. So, this is the blood. See, if there is a broken brokening of the blood vessel, then it is going to lead a blood clotting, that has the meaning. But here the blood vessel is not broken, but still the inside that there is a clotting of blood. Okay, that is called as thrombosis. Okay, if this kind of thing, that is thrombosis, if this is happening in the coronary artery, then it is called as coronary thrombosis. Okay, so blood clotting shouldn't happen in an unbroken blood vessel. Okay, it shouldn't happen in an unbroken blood vessel. If that happens, that is actually that condition is actually called as thrombosis. If this is happening in the coronary artery, then it is called as coronary thrombosis. So, and some other reason for this myocardial infarction is that next one is smoking. If the person is doing heavy smoking, then it leads to heart attack. And then obesity, the excessive weight gain. So all those things will lead to a heart attack. And then if the person is diabetic, so that is another reason. See, a diabetic is included. Oh my God. Okay. So you should always check on your diabetes. Should aware about diabetes, how we can keep it in control. Should work on it. Okay, if the person is diabetic. The next cause is the high blood pressure. Okay, these are the some of the causes for the heart attack. Next, moving on to the effects. So what are the effects here? The effect here, severe chest pain. The scientific term here is this angina pectoris. Okay, angina pectoris. It will state severe chest pain. If you're so see, you can think if the about to get a heart attack, you will get a chest pain, and the person is going to sweat. Okay, and there is a back pain, and there is a breathlessness. Okay, these are the symptoms, or you can say effects of the myocardial infarction. Okay, so that's about the myocardial infarction. Okay, the next next content is treatment. Okay, treatment, how we can prevent heart attack. What are the treatment here? So the first treatment is by using a drug like nitroglycerin. Okay, this is actually a beta blocker. It is going to treat the atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis means now I said it is the condition of the reduced bilirubin due to the deposition of the cholesterol. Okay, that is atherosclerosis. And then we can do the coronary bypass surgery. That is the another treatment. And injection of a clot dissolving thrombolytic agent called as streptokinase along with heparin. If there is a thrombosis, if there is a blood clotting inside the unbroken blood vessels, then you can give this treatment. Okay, I can inject the streptokinase along with the heparin. That is another treatment. Okay, so these are the treatments for the myocardial infection. Next, moving on to the another very important topic, that is cyanosis. The common name for the cyanosis is blue baby. What is this blue baby then? So let's first we look at the definition here. The blue baby is the definition here: a bluish or purple discoloration of skin, mucous membrane due to insufficient oxygen supply in the blood or in tissue of a baby. It is called as blue baby. Means when you look at a baby, okay, a small child, it is going to look like a little bit bluish or a purple color. This is because there is a less supply of oxygen, the pure blood in the to the tissues. So that's why the baby is going to look like a bluish or purple color. Okay. So what is the reason why the baby is looking? So the main reason we got to know that the oxygen less supply of oxygen. Why the oxygen is going to less supply over there? So what factor is affecting to flow the full means whatever the how much oxygen is needed, right? So so that much oxygen could have supply. Why it is not supplying? What is the reason for that? So the causes for that I will explain one by one. Don't worry. So here I listed of the four major causes for the factors that causes cyanosis. The first one, the combination of four factors for cyanosis is called as tetralogy of Fallot. Okay. So those are as follows here. The first one, ventricular septal defects. What is this ventricular septal defect? See, here now we will try to understand by the name itself, and we can learn the points later. So ventricular means ventricles. Okay, there is something, there is a problem in the ventricles. Okay, ventricular. Septal, we know that there is a septum, right? So septal defects means it is affected. Okay, so here a large hole may be present in the interventricular septum. A large hole will be present in the interventricular septum, which leads to flow of blood from right ventricle to left ventricle. It results in the mixing up of the pure and impure blood. Okay, see, that is actually called as ventricular septal defect. What happens? We know that there are four chambers, that is right auricle, left auricle, right ventricle, and left ventricle. And also we know this part, if you observe here, this part is called as interventricular septum. Okay, and in case of cyanosis, the baby heart, if there is any hole, okay, if there will be a large hole in the region called as interventricular septum. Okay, if there is a hole here in the interventricular septum, what happens? The blood has to move from right auricle to the right ventricle to the pulmonary artery. But here, so due to the presence of hole here, the uh, the deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood both are getting mixed. Okay, the blood shouldn't be mixed. Pure blood and impure blood shouldn't be mixed. We have the double circulation mechanism, right? So that is get affected here. The blood is going to mixing up here. That's why the baby is going to look like a bluish color. Okay, so this is the one reason for the cyanosis. Now let us look at the next reason for the cyanosis. The next reason for the cyanosis is pulmonary stenosis. What is this? Let us know the point here. It is the failure of pulmonary semilunar valve. So, you guys know the pulmonary semilunar valve, which is I have explained in the previous video. You can have a look here. This is the pulmonary semilunar valve. Okay, if there is any defect in this pulmonary semilunar valve, okay, so that will actually lead to pulmonary stenosis. What happens here? The pulmonary semilunar valve, that is, they stick to each other and prevent the flow of deoxygenated blood from right ventricle to the lungs. Here, the function of these valves, they are not going to open. Okay, these two valves. These two valves, what they will do, they both will be stick together. They are not closing and opening. So when they stick together, okay, they are stenosis. Okay, they are stagnant when they are closed only. Then what happens? Here blood is going to move from here to here and from here to lungs, right? So what happens? That is going, if there is no open here, then the blood is not going to move here. So that's why it will lead to a pulmonary stenosis. The deoxygenated blood is not going to get purified. In the lung, the blood is going to get deoxygenated blood is converted into oxygenated blood. If there is no flow of blood, then the blood is not going to get oxygenated. That's why it will lead to a pulmonary stenosis, and that in turn causes a cyanosis. Next, moving on to the third cause for the cyanosis, that is displacement of aorta. So the displacement, I guess you have know the meaning of the word, that is displacement. So it should be there in one position, but it is dislocated to the another place. The meaning is something like that. Let us know what is this. Aorta arises from the right ventricle. Okay, it arises from the right ventricle instead of the left ventricle, which leads to supply of deoxygenated blood to the different parts of the body. Let me explain the normal mechanism here, make you understand this something. So we know that the blood is going to distribute it to all the parts of the body through the aorta, and this aorta is going to collect the blood from the left ventricle. Okay, and this left ventricle is going to collect the pure blood from the left auricle, and this left auricle is filled with the pure blood from the which is going to collect the blood from the pulmonary veins. Okay, the pulmonary veins brings the blood into the left auricle, and left auricle sends the blood to the left ventricle, then left ventricle sends the blood to the aorta, and then aorta supplies blood to all the different parts of the body. But what happens here? The aorta is going to, it should arise from the real position is left ventricle, but it is going to arise from the right ventricle. This one is dislocated in case of cyanosis. So what happens? Here, what is there? Here, deoxygenated blood will be there, impure blood will be there. So impure blood is going to distribute it to all the parts of the body of the baby. Then it will lead to a cyanosis. Okay, so there is no supply of oxygenated blood. Only deoxygenated blood is supplying. So there is a reduced, or you can say incomplete. There is completely insufficient supply of oxygen to the blood, to the tissues of the baby, and it leads to cyanosis. Next, moving on to the fourth cause for the cyanosis, that is the right ventricular hypertrophy. What is this right ventricular hypertrophy? It is nothing but very easy one. It is the enlargement of the right ventricle due to the constant pressure. Okay, so this is the enlargement of the right ventricle due to the constant pressure, that is actually called as right ventricular hypertrophy. This is the another reason for the cyanosis. Okay, now moving on to the symptoms here. What are the symptoms, or you can say effects of the cyanosis here? As I named, as I told in the first point, the blood, the baby is going to look like a blue or purple color. Purple color. You can see in the skin, on the skin, tongue, on lips. Okay, and there is a constant chest pain will be there, and shortness of the breath with increased heart rate, and then numbness in the arms and the legs. Okay, and then irregular heart rate. These are the symptoms of the cyanosis. Then treatment. The treatment is replacement of defective valve by surgery. So this is the one treatment that I have mentioned. Okay. So this that's about the topic, that is cyanosis of the blue baby. So the next one, that is ECG. I just say keep it in a simple form. Just one point on this. That is ECG. That is electrocardiogram. This is the long form, full form. One more question. Electrocardiogram. This ECG, it is nothing but an instrument. It is used for the recording the electrical activity of the heart produced during the cardiac cycle, so that they will check the conditions of the heart. Thanks for watching.